Well, hi everyone, welcome to another stream, another Saturday. And if you're new to the stream, hi, a big hi to you, a big warm welcome to you. And so for those who have never been here before, this is all about synthesizers, geeky sequences and drum machines and tech, music technology, anything that you guys want to talk about. And let's go straight to everybody. And starting with Darren and working our way anti-clockwise. Hi Darren, hi Inky,
Hello.
and hi Dazza. And I think we can't hear Inky, so start with Darren.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
And Inky's going to wave. I think Inky's your mic's not working for some reason. We'll see if we can sort that out. And Dazza, say hi.
Hello, how are you guys? G'day, g'day.
G'day, g'day. So we've got what have we got? We've got Manchester, Cornwall and Sydney, and up top where I'm from, Perth in Australia. So there's all sorts of interesting things going on in the world. So, and also, let's quickly go across to here. For those who are new to the stream, you can chat in the chat room and we'll, hopefully we'll get to you and you make a question or comment or whatever. And we do interact with the chat room in this stream, so I do recommend, even if you're a bit shy, we'll be nice to you. And the other thing too is if you've got Twitter, you can jump onto Twitter and make a tweet. And as you can see below me, if you put the hashtag ranzee in the tweet, it'll pop up in my queue and I can make it appear on the screen here. So if you've got a question and you want that to show up down the bottom under socials, give us a question through Twitter and that's a good way of getting it. Don't forget to also ask it in the chat room as well. All right, this week, wow, we've got some interesting topics to talk about. So, what are we talking about this week? Well, you've probably seen the graphic, and the graphic says unused gear. So what does that mean? I was kind of trying to come up with a nicer way of saying it. It means basically we've got gear that's sitting around, and it's just not something that we've enjoyed, and maybe it's perhaps on eBay right now on its way out. Maybe it's something that we've bought and we hate. Or maybe it's just something that just doesn't get any love anymore. Well, we're going to have a bit of a chat about that on the stream. So stay tuned for that. It'll be after our usual segments. So for those who are new, we do segments here. We do the funny side. We do some news. And I've got quite a bit of cool news happening this week. And we also do some price watching out there on the interwebs. What else? And also, I thought I'd give you guys a bit of a treat. And this will just be an ear treat, but have a listen to this. And I doubt anyone would ever be able to pick up what that actually is, but I'll just give you a little visual. Grab my camera here, and if I go straight to here, this is what you're listening to. The Roland MKS-70, that was the patch called Slow High Strings. There you go. So there you go. We're going to be checking out that a little bit too. There's a reason why I brought that on for the stream today. And I do want to have a bit of a chat about that. That's an amazing synthesizer. Just for those who don't know what it is, basically it's two JX8Ps in a box, which gives you a total of 12 analog beautiful voices. And it's got the same chorus engine as the Juno in it. It's an amazing synthesizer. It's got two DCOs, oscillators. So yeah. Anyway, and we're still waiting on Inky to sort of get her sound working. But she's trying really hard. Still not getting anything, Inky. So yeah, just keep working on it and jump into Facebook if you want to chat to me about it, or offline, or into the call chat for the vMix call that we've got going. All right, let's go straight into the first segment. We've got to go with the funny side. Let's roll with that. Welcome to Funny Side. This week we've got some interesting stuff. I don't know, a lot of people didn't get this one. I actually did this meme. Daz, you probably would have seen it. So it's about, it's called the Behringer lottery, and basically it's all about when you order you know how they announce a synth, I'm going to make a synth, and about 3 years later they actually finally got around to doing it. But who's the first company that has it in their store, and this is what the lottery's about. We really just don't know. So, for example, when the Behringer Model D or the Moog Model D came out, everyone thought it was going to come out at Sweetwater first, but no, it ended up coming out at Thoman first, or Thoman, whatever you call it. So this is what I mean by the Behringer lottery. So you can see there's Sweetwater and G4M, which is Gear for Music in the UK. Yeah, so that's what that means, and I thought it was pretty funny. For those who kind of... I spoke to a guy the other day, and he bought 2 Model Ds, and I asked him, why did you get 2 Model Ds, just out of curiosity, and he told me the story that he ordered one from Sweetwater and he ordered one from his other store, and the one from the other store came in before the Sweetwater one, which is the one that he pre-ordered, so he ended up getting stuck with 2. But anyway, that's the Behringer lottery. Let's moving right along. It's a bit of a Moog day today. The correct spelling of Moog is Moog, not Moog. Some people put the second O before the first O, which is very wrong. I just thought that was quite clever. And while we're on the Moog subject, if you do say it wrong, there's the swear jar, but there's also correcting people that pronounce Moog when I wasn't asked. That one's great. So that's why that jar's a little bit more full. There you go. There's FunnySide for you. Moving over.
There is a video of Robert Moog, or Moog, correcting. He's in a game show, and the question in the game show is, "What's the correct pronunciation of my surname?" And I forget if it's Moog or Moog, but he had a particular way that the family would say it.
Interesting. I actually think Mark Doty was talking about it in a video I watched. I don't know if it was when it was or how I saw it, but I'm pretty sure he told us all the story because he used to work at the Moog Foundation, and yeah, it was quite interesting. I think there was a period where Moog was actually what was accepted, and then it got changed to Moog. So I don't know, you guys probably in the know will probably know about it. Anyway, there's actually another little thing for FunnySide, and I thought I'll quickly grab it. Here we go.
Hey, you get down the fiddle and you get down the bow. Kick off your shoes and you throw them on the floor. Dance in the kitchen till the morning light. Louisiana Saturday night.
I just thought I'd add that one in. Who's had a little sausage dog? We used to have a sausage dog when I was a kid, and their little tail just whacks everything. This sausage dog's got a beautiful beat going to it. That one, I definitely had to make it, didn't it? What did you guys think of the last one? Bit of a little. Can I
just ask, how does that relate to synthesizers? I'm not seeing the parallel there.
His tail was oscillating.
I put up a video on my channel about a year back where I had the oscillator in. It was self-oscillating, and the dog was beginning to howl to it. I was just like tooling around with the Novation base station, and there's this noise in the background. It's the dog starting to get more and more wound up. The more and more the oscillator gets wound up, or the filter goes into overdrive.
Yeah, the dog's like that. What the hell happened then? There we go. Back to there. Okay, we're going to move on to the next segment, which is the news, because there's a fair bit to go. So let's roll the stinger. Well, welcome to the news from the Geekery. And what's the Geekery? The Geekery is just my studio, that's what I called it. And that's where the news is coming from. So there you go. No real rocket science in that one, is there? Anyway, who saw this? I think a couple of streams have been showing this already. This is supposed to be the smallest MIDI synth ever made. And basically what you've got is a MIDI plug and a 3.5mm audio plug at the back. And in between, sandwiched in all of that, is a synthesizer. So, if anyone's never seen that, I've got a little treat for you. Let's go and quick to play to here. Roll the video. Oh, and of course it's going to buffer, isn't it?
Hello everyone. Today we're talking once again about MIDI. Let me show you my latest synth.
Alright, this guy rabbits on for hours about his plan. This project's been going on for ages. Anyway, we'll get to the point where he gets to here. There it is.
Gory technical details. How the hell do you make something like this? Just what kind of black magic optimizations do you need to incant to pull something like this out of the bag? Well, before I reveal any tricks, let's take a look at the bit I'm most proud of. You can load new patches, you can load new algorithms, you can upgrade the firmware, you can load custom tuning tables. All of these are possible with minimal effort because of how I've implemented the bootloader.
Alright, enough of that. It's pretty geeky, that video, but I will link it into the description below when the stream has re-uploaded and you can watch it later on. But there you go. First one off the ranks is this smallest MIDI synth, and yeah, did they have a name for it? Let me just double check my notes here.
Synth in a cable?
Well, it's from Hi-Pi Instruments, and they merged with MIT Exceler. And I don't think they had a name. Anyway, world's first MIDI, tiny powered MIDI controller. The thing that's interesting about it is actually it's powered from your MIDI port. So if you've got the standard MIDI port that sends out that tiny micro voltage out, it will, the same things that powers those, those through hubs and things. There's actually a small voltage that comes through MIDI, and it's literally powered off of that. Both 16 voices, doesn't require power, as I said, and it's outputs in stereo via the 3.5mm socket. Anyway, information in the description below. Quick reaction, you guys, anyone want to have a quick reaction to that?
It'd be cool for it'd be cool if you could have like it'd be a really slim setup for live play, wouldn't it? You'd have a couple of them.
Yeah, well, I think what did I mention? Oh, I didn't mention the price. So the price is 120, or I might as well say 130 euros. So that's not too bad for that. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
How do you manipulate the parameters in it, I'm wondering?
There's a whole bunch of details that are in that link. So there's MIDI CC and all that sort of stuff that they've implemented. So it's full MIDI implementation. There you go.
You need a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I wish you said that earlier. I would have gone and grabbed mine.
That's a meme waiting to happen.
That's a meme waiting to happen, that one. Absolutely.
Synth in a cable.
Yep. All right, next one is this. Now, this is actually a little bit of old news turned new news, I guess. We've talked about this MIDI through project before by MeBlip. And here we go. Let me just grab this. If you don't know about this, this is actually a tiny little bit of assembly required. It's not much soldering. It's through-hole soldering, but you actually have to solder in those, MIDI ports. Whoa, that was Inky's audio. We just heard something.
She's coming through.
Hey, this is good. This is news. Let's see if it's working. Inky, we can all see you. No, I won't embarrass her. Let's go back to this. The MeBlip through 5, it's called, and at the moment it's on sale because they've just launched it, and it is $19.95. It's reduced $5 US. I've ordered one, so you'll see it here probably on the stream in a not too distant future. They've already shipped it, so I don't know when it's going to get here. But anyway, I thought that was pretty good value. It features a kit. You've got to do it as a kit. What else can I tell you about it? It passes MIDI data through the MIDI in, and it has 5 out. It has low latency hardware MIDI pass through, runs on 5-volt USB power, and yeah, blah blah blah. Those things are always handy. Yeah. Anyone want to make a quick reaction to that? Or should we move on? Moving on.
Triple H just asked a question.
Okay, let's see his question. Let me go back to me chat.
I've got to say the MeBlip looks pretty good though. They make some good little products.
I heard Inky.
We heard Inky, yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Triple Eight Berg's got a question about MIDI. Okay, we'll get to his question later. It's not related to the actual product, so we'll get to that. Hey, we'll just quickly grab a quick hello from Inky. Hi, Inky. You got the screen.
Hello.
Say hi to everyone.
Hello.
Do you know what it was? It doesn't make any sense. It's just A and B and C and D on the sound card. So for some reason it doesn't like C and D.
Oh, once the first two ports.
Round. Yeah, which
Yeah, that makes sense.
just by accident, really.
Typical
That's the
computer
only thing I
shenanigans.
changed.
Oh, it was good. Good
Yeah.
troubleshooting. Sorry to stress yourself out there for a minute. But you're all good now. All right, we got to quickly get stuck into this rest of this news. I'm just going to bloop, blip. We go back to there. All right, so Triple Eight Berg, your question's on about the Me Blip, so we'll move on. We will look at your question a bit later. The next thing here is another bargain. Who saw this? This is actually a VST. This is by Eventide or Eventide. How do you say it? Is it Eventide? I think it's Eventide, isn't it? It's not Event. I actually didn't understand what that was, Dazza. Anyway. Eventide. Okay. You've got 3 days, 15 hours and 44 minutes to buy this for a massive $0. And what is it? Well, let's have a quick look over here. This is through audio plugin deals, and you can see there's the, normally it's $99 US and it's 100% off. So if you guys don't have this Quadravox, it's a pitch shifting harmonizer. It's very related to our stream last week. You can use this for vocoder stuff. 4-voice diatonic pitch shifter. It's actually really cool. I had a bit of a play with it. I got it obviously because it's so expensive at $0. But anyway, you've got 3 days to get yourself that. And it's important to show people the deals. Anyone want to have a quick comment about that?
I've not used it.
It's
I've
free.
not seen it. But if it's free,
It's
Yeah,
free.
it's free. There's no catches, is there? Because last time I got some of the free, it wasn't free.
There's no catch. I've bought it. I've downloaded it, and I don't have any viruses on my computer, so so we're good to go. Okay, there is one more news item, and then we can roll into the next segment. Okay, let's go to that. Boom, ba-dum. This was the big one. Analog 4 and Rhythm update for those who are Electron fanboys or fangals. Yeah, so I've got a Analog 4 Mark 1, and let's have a quick look what it's about. So a lot of people got really, really excited about this because the big thing that this is now they're finally sending MIDI out. Wow. They said that they could never do it, but guess what? They do it, and here it is. So if you've got an Analog Rhythm Mark 1 or Mark 2 or an Analog 4, you can send MIDI out for your sequence tracks. So on the Analog 4, for example, it's got 4 tracks you can send MIDI out. I believe you can also send MIDI out from the FX and the CV tracks as well. I haven't actually tested that, but I believe someone was mentioning that's what you can do. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of details there. I'll put a link in the description, but while we've got it, let's go back to here while I set up the video. I actually did a video on my channel because I'm nice like that. And for those who do watch my channel would know, let's have a quick look at it anyway. So, here we go. Basically, the video is not me talking, I'm just showing how to do the firmware upgrade, and then you can see my Analog 4 Mark 1, and I'm showing you how to do the firmware upgrade, and then we can skip a bit, and you can see, there we go. Got it working with a Blofeld. That's the Blofeld. Now I've just unmuted a track. And I'm unmuting those other tracks. And then I've faded in the audio from the A4. Anyway, not to bore you guys with that video, you guys can go check that out after the stream's finished. Quick reaction from anyone in the calling side. Starting with you, Darren.
Well, I don't use any Octochat stuff for Electron stuff, so it doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, go to Inky. Quick reaction.
I think it's great that they've updated it, even though they swore they wouldn't. Hurrah. Yeah, I haven't even updated my Digitone because I'm a bit scared of Electron for all that stuff. But
apparently
yeah,
it takes. Apparently, just so while you're talking, I'll go back to you. But it takes a lot of the updates that are in the Mark II versions. Takes a lot of the graphics that they've put into the Digitac and the Digitone. So you'll now see that sort of graphical sort of element going through. But obviously, if you've got a Mark 1, because they've got the tiny screens, you won't see it. Inky, you were saying?
I do like the rhythm. I've always liked it. But the problem with the Mark 1 was sampling, wasn't it? You couldn't sample into it. But
you can.
A fancy one.
Yeah, I think you can.
But
I don't know if you can now, but you can.
You'd have to. The Mark 2 you can sample into, can't you?
Yeah. I'm not very knowledgeable on the rhythm because I don't have it, and but I can tell you about the Analog 4.
I like that too.
There you go. Yeah, but I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, this is a free update. So, and not only is it a free update, imagine if they did an update to the firmware, but it only was for the Mark II, and they left all the Mark 1s sitting out there in the desert island with sad faces. So it was really nice of them to do an update for the Mark 1s, I thought. And they've gone to a lot of effort to do it because there's different firmware versions for each of these devices. They've had to like split the code up into different things because obviously there's some graphical improvements that you're not going to be able to run on a Mark 1, but you're going to be able to run it on a Mark II. So there's, an example. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the news.
It was a good subject for a video, that. I thought I liked your video. I'd love to get some Electron gear, but I just haven't got into them yet either, like Darren says. Got to save up for that one. But the Octatrack would be the go-to for me, I think.
I've got an Octatrack.
I have to warn you. Warn you.
Yeah.
When they say it's totally different, it's totally different. I mean...
it is.
Like,
sorry,
so for the Digitact, right? The Digito, if you want to live record, you have to press certain buttons. But if you press them the wrong way around, it stops it.
Oh.
So, and every time I stop it, right? So you'd have to have it on a piece of pen and learn that. And things like that, you've got to know them like the back of your hand. They're awesome, but they're a bit weird.
Yeah.
They say that about the Octatrack. It's a steep learning curve to get used to the Electron workflow.
It is a steep learning curve. Because I've got an Octatrack Mark II. I've got an Analog 4 Mark 1. And I don't use the Octatrack as much as I use my MPC Live. But there's some things that the Octatrack does that nothing else does. And the resampling on the fly type stuff, it's insane how good it is. And parameter locks and parameter randomizations and just that whole mangling of your samples. Once you can learn an Octatrack's workflow, it's actually not that hard, believe it or not. It's just that it's not something that you've used before. But once you actually learn how to use it, you know, guys like Jenk that you see in those videos, they've been using it for years. So, you know, I may never be as good as that guy. I don't think I'll ever be, but do you know what I mean? So don't sort of think to yourself, I'm going to be like Jenk in 5 minutes. You're not, so...
There's definitely a lot to be said for sticking with the same piece of gear and learning to use it well, getting right inside, getting very familiar with whatever it is you're using. I'm just finding I'm very happy with the gear I've been using here because I'm just getting to know it really well. And yeah, the deeper I can go into it without...
That's a really good point. Less is more. You need enough to make different sounds and keep you occupied, but getting lots of different things that operate differently is counterproductive, really, I think. So, like you say, like I've been learning the MPC now for about a year, and I know it pretty well, you know? So, yeah, if you're going to use a brain that's not a computer, I think you've got to spend a bit of time on it.
Yeah.
Good.
I've really been making a push to go and play live as well, playing in front of people and performing. I did some stuff today. There's a video that went up. You can have a look on my channel of what that was like. And you don't have time when you're in front of an audience. You have to know that button's going to do that and that's going to do that. And I was chatting to you guys earlier online about the fact that I couldn't actually see the lights. We were in sunlight and I couldn't see the buttons. I couldn't read the screen, so it was like flying blind. It was kind of terrifying, but I just had to relax and just go with it and just let what happened and trust my ears and what I was hearing. But yeah, when there's so many elements. When there's so many elements at play, there's filters in the DJ mixer, there's filters in everything else, and it's like, oh, what's doing what? I'm not sure, but yeah, there'll be a couple more videos out of that same session from today.
It's almost a good segue into the segment we're going to talk a bit later about unused gear. So we're talking about getting to know your gear. That might be why we have some gear collecting dust on our shelves. I do need to move on, so I just wanted to quickly bring up the chat, guys. And that is because I haven't said hello to everyone that's in the chat today. So let's have a quick look. We've got, and hopefully wow, this has been going crazy. 888 Berg, shout out to you. Axel Soft Music. Geosynths, hi to you. We've also got Damiano Pistoia. Big hello to you. Tell me if I pronounced that wrong. I think I said that last time. Who else have we got? Scrolling. Barry Arthurs, hi to you. Barramundi, good day to you. Charlie John, John Cuba, wow, big chat today. Lots of people in there. And if I've forgotten anyone, I'm sure they will tell me off. Sorry, I was having my head down here looking at my Surface, trying to look at the chat. Now we do have another segment to get to, so we will definitely quickly roll the stinger for that, and it's called. Well, this is kind of like a double segment. This is eBay scams and bad deals, but it's also price watch because there is something in here for price watching. So let's have a quick look at that. The world's longest stinger. Okay, the Moog Rogue. If it's been on meth, this one, crystal meth. Check out the teeth on it. Ah, dearie me. $2,000 US this is. And you can get yourself a key destroyed Moog Rogue. I think that one might be a bit of a scam, guys. So check out that one. I think that's that looks like I got that off of one of the Facebook groups, so I actually don't know where that is. That looks like a Facebook type. What do you call it? Those buy and sell type things. So that's probably where that is. Next one. Now this one may not necessarily be a scam, but it definitely is a big caveat on price watch. Now everyone who follows music will know that Rick Ocasek died recently, and rest his soul. He was awesome. He's the lead singer of the Cars, if you don't know. Anyway, you can buy his Sequential Circuits Prophet 5 apparently. And if you've got a cool, well, this is $30,000 Australian, which is about $24,000 US, 25, somewhere around there. And that's a lot of money for a Prophet 5. And then again, you could be a Cars or Rick Ocasek fan, and this could be the thing that you've been waiting for. And now you can play that famous sync sound. Yes, this is the synth that sync sound came off of, if you're ever wondering. And if you don't know the song, well, we're not going to help you. Anyway, next one is, this is Price Watch. So this isn't a scam, this is real, this is Sweetwater's website. And if you are a Moog fan and you want to get your hands on a brand new, with a warranty, Moog synthesizer, and you're living in the US, or you don't mind paying postage if you're living elsewhere, this is a pretty good deal. $600 US for a slim fatty. That's a pretty good synthesizer for $600. And it's a monophonic and it's fully analog and everything, but it's actually, there's a few left. So I think it might just be stock that they're just trying to. I don't think Moog are making these anymore because they make the subsequent 37 now. And anyway, it could be right up your alley. And I do keep an eye on these things, and I will let you know what they are. And while we're thinking about a quick reaction from our callers, anyone want to comment on any of those?
Be good for a museum.
Which one's the museum? The Rick Ocasek one?
Yeah, I suppose if for a maybe Hard Rock Cafe or something like that. Would they actually pay that kind of money? I
don't think so. Yeah, it's a lot of money. A lot of money for a synth. What about you, Darren? Any synths in the deals there that you had your eyes on?
The Moog. I haven't actually got a keyboard version of a Moog synth because I've only really got the DFAM.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. But I always wanted the Slim Fatty though, with it being a nice desktop.
Yeah, you could probably buy mine off me. I don't know. I'm thinking about getting rid of. I don't know. They're still pretty pricey, the Slim Fatties, even the used market. I was having a look at the prices actually the other day because I was thinking about chucking it up on eBay, trying to fund all the funding costs that I've got at the moment, and I was quite surprised that I could still fetch about $1,000 Australian for a Slim Fatty used, and I can tell you that I didn't pay that for that, so it's gone up. So it's not something that I do. I don't go and buy synths to, and have it as an investment. But it's just been, I've been pretty lucky with a couple. Like, if I sold that Slim Fatty now, I'd make a profit.
Yeah, there's quite a few stuff that's some I was thinking of buying, and it's like I'll wait, and never got round to it, and now I'm thinking, blimey, I should have just bought it anyway, and you could have made a decent profit. Not that that's what you're in for, but you could then profit and sell it for other gear.
I think it's a bonus, isn't it? Like, you buy something, use it for years. I mean, I've had that Slim Fatty since 2013, so what's that, 6 years, and I can sell it and I actually get more money for it. It's awesome, So, when we say musicians don't get paid, there's a way to get paid. What do you think, Inky?
Well, every time I sell something, I tend to spend the money on other things, which is a bad idea. Yeah, wouldn't mind the Moog myself.
Yeah.
Or yours.
Or mine. The Moog do actually have nice keyboards. I will say that. So I've got a sub 37, not a subsequent 30, but the sub 37 was the first one. Very, very nice keyboards on them. Very, very nice. I wouldn't say they're the best in the world. Look, they're not like high-end Yamaha piano type keyboards, but they're definitely better than plasticky sort of Roland stuff, or mini keys, thin keys. Yeah, saw a funny meme this week about sausage fingers. I thought it might have been a little bit bit risque for the stream, but yeah, that you definitely, if you've got sausage fingers, you can play a Moog keyboard. That's for sure. Anyway, that's a good segue into our Saturday Sonority, which is the new name for our segment. We're going to roll the stinger. Let's go. Ask us anything. That was me actually talking. It was pretty lame actually. So what is Saturday Sonority? Well, Saturday Sonority's topic today is unused gear, and I did promise last week that I'm going to break the internet with my whinge about my most unused piece of gear. And I'm going to hold off a little bit because I want the other guys to have a bit of a chat, and we also need to keep an eye on the the chat too, to see if these guys have any comments that we need to address. I'm seeing out if you've seen someone make a comment. I know 888 Berg had a question about MIDI, but we will get to that after we get through this segment. Anyone else sing out? Anyway, so let me just have a quick look while I'm at it if there's any socials that we need to put up. I might see if I can flag that comment from 888 Berg in a sec. Alright, so who wants to go first? Put your hand up. We've been planning on this, so who's going to go first and tell us about their most unused piece of gear? I think maybe Darren. Shall we start with you?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. I'll start with one piece.
Yeah.
Because I've got more than one.
Okay.
So the one that I got, I don't know. I was really excited about getting it ages ago, and then I got it. I used it for a day, and then it's basically never been used since. Is the Roland BT.
I didn't expect that.
You see. So it's basically just been sat there for a couple of years now, and I just don't use it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But until recently, when I stuck the D-fan through it, and like you say, you can use it as an extra audio input. It might stay, because I don't know if it's even worth getting rid of anyway.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I had that on the stream. I think it was the first stream that Dazzle was on. and I was it was the stream where Dazzle we couldn't hear you. Do you remember that one? And
Sure.
and I was making my intergalactic jokes on it, and I've watched that stream back, and my microphone was cutting in and out during that stream, and
Sure.
it was kind of just getawayable. But if you watch it back, it'll do your head in, especially if you're into audio and you know that sort of stuff's not on. And that was the VT3. So if they're going to classify that as a DJ level or semi-professional product, that really disappointed me. So yeah, that's a good one, Darren. That really surprised me. I know the other one that you're going to mention, but that one actually surprised me.
Three.
Oh, it's three. Wow,
three.
We're in for a treat. Inky, have you got one? Do you want me to go to you next?
I've got two.
Got two. Let's do one for you now.
Without mentioning a laptop as well.
Wow, I'm not mentioning a laptop.
So the first one is this audio interface
Okay.
by Native Instruments, which
Oh,
I bought
NOA.
second hand. Right?
Yes.
So I bought it, and I reckon the dude knew as well. So with the laptop that I hate, that wasn't working, that I wanted to stream off, it had some problems, so I updated it to Windows 10 and plugged this in to stream. Wouldn't work. Went to the lovely Native Instruments site, where they happily said, well, we decided not to make it Windows 10 compatible. You know, you've kind of had a good run. Buy another one.
Yeah.
And that, even my new interface now, can be used as a standalone mixer. Because I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with this piece of metal except you won't let me work it. Why not? Why not? What do I do with it now? What do I do, Joe?
See that door behind you?
Recycle it?
You could just chuck it
Yeah.
in the door, and it'll stop the wind from blowing the door shut. I mean, that's awesome. How much did it cost you for a door stop? Brilliant.
80 quid.
80 quid for a door stop. I think we could have got a rock out in your front garden. That would have done the job. He's losing it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
But you can tell in our faces. You can tell as people are saying it, that the disgust in their face, like when Darren was talking, that, you know, you really bought it and then you're really disappointed. You're like, I was waiting this one moment, and it's just, carry on. Dazzers go.
Dazzers go. All right, Dazzer, you got the floor, mate.
I really appreciate you guys talking like this, because it helps me make decisions for my future investments. The VT, it's funny you say that, because I had the VE20 sitting around for a long time, and I just made a commitment that I'm going to start using it and just apply it for things. And one of the things I would have used it for last week if I'd stayed awake, I mean, I remember the week when my microphone wasn't working, but I also remember the week when I fell asleep and failed to turn up for the vocoding session,
which I would have loved to have used here, you see.
I have set these up for you so that I can
especially get on my vocoder voice.
Oh, wow. We did miss you for that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the VT. I was very glad that Inky got the KP3 out, because that was one I would have suggested as well. It's actually, those vocoders are quite good when they get going.
Yeah, they're good.
Pieces of junk, does it include things that are just broken that you've blown up?
Yep, go for it. Anything.
I've got a, what is it, the Giga Delay. This thing, when I bought it, had the screen wasn't working, and then I've got a funny power connection, and it sort of cuts out if you don't push the connector in, and it's just, I think it's just blown this thing up. So it's still got the analog circuit. It runs audio through it, but the delay function has gone into, it sounds like dubstep, sort of. It's like,
we love dubstep here.
People are paying for that.
It's trashed. It's just like digital mess. It's quite hilarious. But I heard Darren talking about when something's free, it's not always free. Like, what's the catch? I bought a really cheap imitation SM58 the other day, and they threw in a free mic cable. Yay! But it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
That's why it was free.
You had one job to do.
And it's
Send us
really
your-
annoying when that happens. Because
Go-
you're always
go,
like,
Inky.
is it the mic I've just bought? or is it the cable? So I
Exactly.
spent ages thinking this mic was broken. It was the cable. So
That's
it's
exactly
like,
what
thanks for nothing. You know what I mean?
And I was so excited to get my free cable. But it was
Well,
like,
we'll pause you there, Daz, because there's more to get through. And just while we've got a few people in chat, so and I just thought we'd bring them because there's a few suggestions here. So GeoSynths is saying that he never got into the MPC Live, so that's gonna shock a few people here, including me. I love the MPC Live. And what else did we get? A couple of other suggestions. I'll pause on some of those because we've got to get to mine because I actually want to break the internet. Okay.
Oh God.
You guys ready?
break it.
We need to. Dazza, do a drum roll for me.
Oh, on the thing.
Oh, okay. Here we go. He's going to do it on his synth.
I can do it. Is that enough?
There is my most hated and unused product. Can you guys see that?
No, not. Lift it up.
Yeah.
Machine Jam came up in the
Machine Studio. This, and you can see just the amount of dust that's on this. Look at the dust. See that? I run my finger all over it, and you can see all the dust on this thing. This has been sitting on a shelf for probably about 3 years, and I just need to sell it. But if every time I look at selling it, it's only worth about $200 or $300 to sell because nobody wants it. It's just really just I didn't get it. Like, I know people are going to be really pissed off. I know I've actually got someone in chat that agrees with me. Charlie Jan, you're a legend. He agrees with me. See, he said it in chat. Let's highlight that and bring it up. I'm definitely going to be highlighting that comment and bringing that up. Let's do it. Where is he? The most unused bit of gear. Bang.
So can I ask why? Why is it not popular? And how much would you sell it for?
Well, I can only get what is it? Like I said, $300 for it. And the problem is when you sell
I bet that hurts.
It's just a controller, really. So when you sell it, it's just a controller and sorry, just trying to get that social thing to work, but it's not working. And is there a reason why it's not working? There we go. Let's see if we can get it to work now. Looking below me, you should see Charlie Jan's comment. Hopefully, if it appears down there. Anyway, so basically, what happens is if you sell it, you have to sell the machine to software license with it, and to do that, you've got to let someone. There it is. There's his comment. There we go. Beautiful. So you got to go in and you've got to share your login or transfer your. It's such a pain to send the software license over to someone else. So basically that's the issue with it, and that's probably one of the reasons why I've held on to it, because if I sell it, I'm going to have to sell it to someone I kind of semi-know, and and they really want it. So if you want a machine studio and you want it cheap, give me a shout out and I'll make an arrangement for you. All right. Who's ready for the next? Did I break the internet? That's the question. Who's hating me now? Like how many people?
No,
have left the chat?
I'm with you on that anyway.
How many people have left the stream?
Throw to Inky.
Go next because
Inky's going to go.
Exactly the same problem.
All right, let's go.
So this is the DJ controller. I swapped some CDJs for about £600 about a few years ago. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I did my research and I thought, brilliant. Look, it's got inputs, for decks. It's pretty good, right? Right. So it was all right. The software was a bit rubbish at the time. It's better now. But the real crux comes when my mate asked me to do me a bit of a gig. Just nothing special. So yeah, I'm there, and the laptop kind of freezes. So I think, it's no problem. I've got a phone, I've got the cables, I'm prepared for this. I'll just plug it in the back and get some music on. And no. And I'm panicking. Thankfully, the computer comes back on. So I get home really angry. And in the book, which is just that thick, The next day, in teeny tiny letters, it's you must upgrade to this version and pay extra money to get the inputs to work. And you're like, at no point was that mentioned ever. And that is the reason I'm hardware only now, because it's a £600 doorstop again.
So you're on the same wavelength as me, Inky. I like that, because basically the same thing with the machine. It's basically a piece of useless piece of kit unless you want to lug your laptop with you, and then some people think that's great. You just lug your laptop everywhere with you, but oh geez.
But you're always dependent on, like, even now we've got Ableton, and we think that's secure, and it is. At some point, it won't be. So all those pushes are going to be doorstops. So this is why I went doorless, really, because I've had enough. £600 on my floor there. It's quite good. It works with the software now. But yeah, I'd never take it out. And so it's worthless, isn't it?
Well, speaking of doorstops, Geosynth made a bit of a joke. DAW as in doorstop. There you go. Have a look below me just there. I thought it was pretty funny. There we go. That was a good one. So yes, definitely agree. And this machine has heaps of inputs on the back as well. Look at all the inputs on that. It's got heaps, but they're useless unless you've got a computer. Not that it's. I'm making myself sound stupid. I know you need to use a computer with it. That's not the issue. I just couldn't gel with the interface. I couldn't gel with the software, and that's life. Some people do, some people don't. All right, Darren, you're next. Go.
Okay. Well, do you want me to go with the two remaining ones, or just one of them?
Because
one of them you can see behind me. Yeah, you can see the one behind me. You know what it is?
Yes.
Step
yeah.
Pro.
Beat Step Pro. All right, tell us about the Beat Step Pro.
Well,
Send it over.
It's a good piece of kit. Everyone seems to like it. I just don't get on with it. I don't. Ranzee, you'll know what I mean. I can't explain it, but it just doesn't work for me. But the reason I've not got rid of it, is because this side of the studio here is going to change around Christmas time, and that will be needed. Even though I don't actually like it, and I've not got on with it, it will be needed for a new project that's going on here. So anyway, I'll leave that with you.
Fair enough.
The second bit.
Oh, hang on. Go back to him. Ooh.
The second. Yeah, you said the second one.
Yep.
Which is, it's built really well. I like it. I get the whole point of it. Let me just show it you first.
This is the one I knew about.
Yeah.
Presonus
the Fader Pro. Fader Pro,
yeah.
It is very. I can't knock it. It's built well. It's really nice. But it's basically for. I know you can do Cubase, Logic, Ableton. It's basically for Studio One, because if you've got a Magic Mouse in Ableton with a Mac, it sort of renders that pointless, because you can do it a lot quicker with your mouse on your Magic Mouse than you can on a. Now I know they might have an update for some more, for the more on Ableton, but yeah, I spend more time pressing around on here, flicking through the tracks. Yeah, you've got the first version when I can do it with gestures on my mouse quicker. So it was complete. I mean, it literally is to me. Is like just no point, because I've spent half an hour clicking, especially in Ableton. If I have a group track, right? You've got a group track, you've got 3 buttons there. I've got one in, lock down, no backup, and then it won't go out of the group. It'll jump to the next one above. So then you've got to scroll that. I could have done it in 2 seconds with a mouse. It's like,
yeah.
So yeah, it's a good. But don't get me wrong, it's a good piece of kit if you've got a laptop and you're trying to mess about with the the pad on the laptop and you're using Studio One. Really good piece of kit. Otherwise, I don't get on with it, and it's just sat there, and I sort of like, it's a 9-1 because I thought I bought it with this really expectation of me helping my workflow, and all it did was just set me mad.
Just get one of those.
Yeah, well, there's no point telling me now. I've got that.
Beautiful. Well, that was really good. Daz, do you have any more, or are we kind of done? We good?
I'll call that a day. But 88 just said, does it work? Does the Magic Mouse work in Windows? I couldn't tell you whether it does or not.
Don't think it does.
I think it's just for the Mac.
Yeah, someone might be able to get it to work. Sorry, Daz, did you say you wanted to do one, or you good?
I got a couple of things I'm going to throw at you. I got a couple of dishonourable mentions. One is the MC307. It just makes it's got a high noise floor, but it's got a really good filter, and I find it fidgety to play with. I'd say a similar thing about the MC808. Actually, it's got a high noise floor. It's starting to give me a real problem. I'm not sure if it's a software problem or what. This is the. Can you see? Can you see that? It's a BR8.
Yes.
This runs on zip disks. Now, zip disks are really good. They're good quality, amazing audio, but just totally out of date, very slow and unreliable, and they were expensive. You had to buy them. Can I move the camera around to show you this?
Yeah, go for it.
I've got a zip drive.
I was going to say, Darren, if you want to get away from using a mouse, the best way to do it is don't use a DAW. But you'll always get stuck. You'll always get stuck editing video. Now you can see behind me there's a crate. Now back in the good old days, I had a couple of friends who used to drink too much, and they come up with this great idea. And at some point, one of the guys brought this to me and said, "Darren, you must have this." We call it the Frankenstein. Okay, he says my mate put this together, and he doesn't have a use for it now. You can have it. Let me pull this apart for you. I'll start by saying the best thing about it is probably the box, and I'll be able to use the box at some point. You can see on the end, on the open end here, is that there's a computer inside of it. So they've taken a computer, pulled it apart, and I'll just open the top if you just bear with me.
Oh yes. What? What is that?
Inside of it, this is the guts of a Behringer BCR 2000.
Yeah.
Inky, eat your heart out. We've got DJ spinners up here. These things are connected to.
What the hell is this? You're going to have to do a video on this, mate.
You know, I've saved this thing just for this moment, guys. Once I film this, I can throw it out. It's got pads.
What drugs were they on when they did it?
Oh, I don't know, but there was a lot of alcohol involved. I know that. I wasn't drinking. I never been a heavy drinker, but on the underside, everything's connected up, and it's all like connects to the computer. But I've never had any clue how it's supposed to run at all. So I've never actually ever used it. I just saw it because it's this incredibly funny thing. And also, should I damage my BCR 2000? I've got backup faders on here, which. with it, and the thing is, I hate soldering. I hate any of those jobs. But like, there's these knobs on here, which I could probably tear apart and sell individually because they're getting rarer and rarer, harder to find, right? And the BCR 2000's got a lot of use. A lot of people use them. But this is just the most absurd attempt at making a MIDI controller. I think that's what the heart of it is. It's a MIDI controller, and you're supposed to be able to just use multiple software instruments and whatever, all run from here. But like Darren was just saying, you tend to end up just using the mouse anyway. Like, it's quicker.
Yeah, that's interesting. That
this thing's unbelievable.
That's amazing, Beck. Yeah.
Hey, Dazza, why are you talking about the zip disks? Do you remember this? We did this on the eBay scams.
I've got one.
That's how much they're selling for now. This was only a couple of weeks ago. I put this on the eBay scams. That is incredible. Like $1,330 US for a zip disk.
I've got like a crate of them here. Like, I've got this old case that I got from the chemist, and it's just
Moog one.
Mate, you could sell those. Seriously, you could sell those.
You know what I was thinking? And the other thing about the BR8, it can only be the master clock. It has to be the master clock, and you can't change tempo while it's playing. You can only do that when you're starting a new song. So, like, it's just...
Welcome to the 90s, children. That's what happened with...
Well, yeah, I'll
drink to that.
I've got one of those zip drives with a few zip disks because I used to. I don't use it now. for the Akai 3000 XL sampler.
Yeah.
I run the zip drive into it.
Yeah, but that's a decent piece of gear.
Exactly. I don't know if they can see that, but remember what that mouse was off?
Yeah, an old Mac. You had the bubble Mac.
G3.
Yeah.
No, well, the G3. Yeah, I've still got that under the desk here with Cubase VST, the original.
Does that have a ball under that one, or is that the optical one still?
No, it's got the ball underneath.
Yeah, that's how old that mouse is. You have to clean the...
Yeah.
You have to clean it.
It still works.
You have to get the ball out and clean inside all the rollers and that, because they used to get gunk in there. Do you remember that? And you used to roll your mouse around, it was like clunk, 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 if it had a bit of grub in it.
Yeah,
and your mouse would zip across the screen.
Take that out, and there's your ball.
Yeah. Oh, don't lose that mouse. That's actually started to enter the retro computer world. So keep hold of that, mate. Definitely.
Exactly. Well, look, I've got the keyboard to it as well.
Oh wow, there you go. Well, there you go, everyone. We've had crazy ideas from different sort of products, and it's amazing. Some of the stuff you can understand. It's kind of it's past its life. There's just no use to it anymore. And some of the stuff is stuff that we're using today. So.
Some of it never had use.
Some of it you never use, yeah.
Yes, some of it.
Some of it's brand new and still doesn't work.
Like your MIDI cable, or your mic cable. Sorry. Yeah.
Or the fader port.
Yeah. So, guys in the chat, any? Let's have a quick look to see if the guys in the chat have said anything. Yeah, they're kind of just sort of talking along with us. I'm just trying to double check to see if anyone's mentioned another product.
I've got the Sonic Exciter there. Only another dishonourable mention, just because one channel's been blown out in it. And I used to wonder why is the signal stronger in one channel than the other? Oh, this thing's blown out. It was like that for a couple of months. Oh dear.
Okay, so
I've got the compressor.
Let's get to 888 Berg's question about MIDI. Okay. All right. So. Let's go to here. Now you're not going to be able to see it underneath me unless maybe I could scroll back. God, how far back do I have to go? Oh no, I've got a page back. No, I can't do that. It's too hard. Okay, I've got it here on my screen anyway. I have a question about MIDI, says 888 Berg. Often the devices TR8S and others that split out the MIDI notes instead of just the clock often wrestle just to make the MIDI clock, but now considering an interface to the device to easily control this madness. Okay, so what you probably need, let me just scroll back to the live chat. What you probably need is some sort of MIDI filter. And you can do that in a DAW. So if you've got Ableton, there's MIDI filtering features in Ableton 10. A lot more MIDI implementation in Ableton 10 than there is in Ableton 9, but you can still do it if you've got Max for Live, which is that suite that plugs into Ableton 9. If you've got something like a MIDI PAL, a MIDI Bro, MIDI Gal, that thing that I keep showing you guys, that's got MIDI filtering in it. And there's plenty of other ways to do it as well. So an MPC can do it as well. If you've got an MPC Live, you can actually filter stuff out with an MPC with a bit of know-how. So, but let's launch this out to everyone in the chat and everyone on the show here. So, what is his what is an easy solution for his problem? Let's say he doesn't have MIDI filtering in his DAW. Let's say he's using, I don't know, a DAW that doesn't have MIDI filtering. I can't think of one, but I don't want to rubbish any DAW. Let's say he doesn't have any hardware. What can he do? Any suggestions?
He is running live. He is running live.
I think he is, yeah.
So
version 9, I think.
Is he using all Roland stuff through their cable?
So
or is it actually MIDI?
Quick question for 888 Berg from Inky is: are you using all your Roland stuff via MIDI cable? Is that what you mean, Inky? Just like hardware cable?
No. Is he using, because like Roland stuff does MIDI via USB, doesn't it, to each other? Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It does.
So I'm wondering if that is where the problem is.
So he wants a non-DAW solution. Okay. I would say probably go have a look at Retro Kits, that website that sells MIDI, stuff. They've got some MIDI hubs that have got filtering. You can actually plug them in USB into your keyboard, and there's a web thing that it's browser-based configuration, so you go in and you can configure MIDI filtering in that, or you can get yourself a MIDI PAL if you've got one. They don't make them anymore, but you can find them on eBay. So yeah, there's ways that you can do it. And you shoot me an email, Triple Eight Berg. I can talk to you offline about this. It's pretty easy to fix. So I've already spoken to him offline, so we can sort that out. All right, so that lovely, beautiful sounding pad that you just heard is the MKS-70, the Roland Super JX synthesizer in rack format. And I pulled it out of the rack because I'm going to do, it's actually a bit of a segue for me. I'm going to do a bit of a project on this. So here it is here. I'm just showing you guys live. So, hi, here I am, and this is my hand in front of the camera, just so you know it's me. By the way, that's what my screen looks like when I'm doing a live stream. Hello, everybody. Look at that. You can see the live stream there. Anyway, so the MKS-70, what's it all about? Well, it's actually two JX8P synthesizers in one. So if you don't know what a JX8P is, it's a 6-voice, 2-oscillator Roland analog synthesizer. It's got the same chorus bucket brigade chip as the Juno, and it also has, what else? It has 2 digital oscillators, not digital oscillators, DCOs. I should say that because people get upset if I say that wrong. Digitally controlled oscillators. So they're analog, they're fully analog, and it's got some really, really interesting features in it. Now, the problem with mine, not that there's anything physically or hardware wrong with it, is it's got an old firmware on it. And in these days, in the 80s, the only way for you to upgrade the firmware is to literally drop a new EPROM chip in it. And it's not hard to do. You can just drop a chip in. But there's a lot of development that's been going on behind the scenes with the MKS-70, and there's a heap of projects. Seems to be quite a interesting synth, and for people to sort of get involved in it. So you can get, and there's actually a company that's recently just released a hardware controller for this, and I'm going to try and find it now. Well, I'm trying to find it. You guys can, any guys can have a little comment about what you think about the MKS-70 or Super JX or even the JX8P. Does anyone know about those synthesizers from Roland from the 80s?
I had one at.
I had one. Darren. Okay, Dazza.
Yeah, I had a really good music teacher when I was at school, and it was the first synth I ever played on, and I used to go in the music room at lunchtime and just jam that thing out. It's got the big square buttons along the front of it, and I think all I knew was how to do presets, like just use the presets. And yeah, I had friends who were drummers, and we'd just jam that thing in a drummer. It was awesome, really powerful, through a bass cube. That's what I recall.
Yeah. Did anyone want to make a comment? There's a couple of famous things about this synthesizer that I thought I'd mention, but if you're willing to wait a sec, I can get all that ready. So where is it? So if anyone's ever had any Rompler synths from Roland, the Darren, your XP, right? Your XP synth.
Hi. Yes.
There are patches on this synthesizer that the XP synthesizer has sampled. So, and I'll see if I can grab one. I'm just trying to find it in here. These are all factory patches. I've actually done this on purpose to... Here we go, this one. So, I'm going to show you the name of the patch first so you can recognize it. Let me get the camera going again. That's for you, Darren. Do you recognize the name of that patch?
Yes.
Yep. So your XP, it's XP50, isn't it? You've got an XP50.
Yeah, XP50 with 2 boards.
That will have this patch, and it sounds like this. Actually, I need to, before I do this patch, I actually need to turn all the effects off. One sec. I've got a whole bunch of effects running, and I want to turn them off. Okay, here we go. It's really hard to play a keyboard when you're sort of kind of almost breaking your hip in half. Anyway, that's the Calliope, or that's not how you say it, is it? Calliope. You can have it with your pasta. No, that's that patch anyway. God, I'm hopeless. Kill me now. There's another one in here that's really, really well known. I need to find it because it's one of my favourite patches. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It's called Sound something. Sound. Where is it? Come on, why can't I find patches when I want to? It might be further back here.
Welcome to the
I should have
80s.
switched on the XP.
Oh, do you know?
Everybody just went finding the patch.
This is how you have to find patches when you're using it. I'll show you. Look how hard this is. I have to go through every single one of these like this, right? So start with bank A. Is this fat? Oh dear.
The Raven can be a bit like that, actually.
If I've passed a patch that you want me to do, let me know what it is. Come on, where is it? I could swear that I've actually probably been past it. There it is, soundtrack.
What is, oh.
That one, soundtrack. That is your patch that everyone will know of. What is that noise?
Yeah, what's that weird noise? Anybody?
Was it feeding? I had my volume turned right up because I'm not hearing your keyboard there. So I was turning up my gain. Was that maybe affecting things?
Oh, okay. You're not hearing the keyboard. Why is that?
I don't know.
It might be to do with Skype.
Here.
It's probably to do with Skype, Dazza.
Yeah, I can hear it.
It's not something I can fix now. It's because you're on Skype, so
no problem. I was just trying to hear it, but that's all.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Okay, so yeah, that soundtrack is another one, and you know, there's plenty, and those patches were really famous. And for those who have got old Roland synths, they definitely, you know, they'll definitely want to have that. Now, the thing that I want to get my hands on is the first thing I want to get my hands on is this. This is the Super JX program, and it's only just been released. It's by a company called Retroactive Synthesizers. This thing's $800 and something US, and it actually replaces the programmer that Roland made, and it does a whole bunch more bells and whistles than what the programmer has. You could probably get a programmer for about the same price, maybe slightly, but they're like 30 something years old. This thing's brand new. Not only that, but it also interacts with the new. There's a new firmware you can get for this synthesizer, and it's from what's his name, V Coven, I think his name is. And so basically, where I'm going to go with this is on my channel. I'm going to do like kind of like a series. I'm going to upgrade the synth. I'm going to put new firmware on it. I'm going to put the new chips in it, and I'm going to kind of do it through different steps and stages. And where I'm at the moment with this particular, this is pretty stock standard, and it's got an older firmware on it. You can't even send sysx to it. It's very, very limited what you can do. You can save your patches. You can do all very, very basic stuff, but that's pretty much all you can do with the one that I've got right now. And yeah, you can program. I mean, this thing to program is a nightmare, but obviously if you had something like that, look how easy that would be to program.
That looks really cool.
Now the cool thing about this is it's all CV, control voltage. I'm saying CC. I don't mean to say MIDI. It's not MIDI. It's control voltage. So it's instantaneous. It's not. You don't get that MIDI. The stepping with MIDI when you're adjusting filters and stuff like that. So this one is control voltage because it's done through the actual programmer's port, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So have to sell some gear to buy that. That's pretty expensive. Does anyone want to hear something else? I'll see if I can find another patch. Any comments about the?
How many patches of the JV series, the XP series, taken off that?
I reckon just about all of them. Definitely, just I'm just looking through. There's jazz organ, there's electric piano 1. The electric piano. Remember, this is an analog synth. That's the original electric piano sound, not the digital one. That's the original analog electric piano sound.
That sound sample very familiar on the XP electric piano. That's definitely the same.
Yeah, definitely. And the PCM samples that Roland did back in the day were really, really high quality. So this is Renz is saying high string. Yeah, that's kind of up the end here somewhere, isn't it? This one. This also responds to aftertouch and all that sort of jazz. What I should tell you guys is something interesting. So let's have a look at my Mac screen for a sec. The MKS-70 actually has 2 separate outputs. It also has a mixed output as well. So you can send, you can have a mono output. You can have 2 stereo outputs. So each of the JX8Ps that are inside here has its own stereo output. Plus, you can also mix them together. Now, what I've got is you can see in Ableton, I've got channel 3 here and channel 4. They are the 2 separate outputs, and some of the patches they're layered. So one JX8P is a separate tone to the other. So there's what they call tone A and tone B. So there's 2 separate JX8P synthesizers in there, and you can tell. Because you can see that the VU meters are behaving differently when I'm playing it, and you've got also different keyboard modes as well. And I mean, this thing's crazy what it can. And don't forget, this is 1986, so the amount of technology this thing had in it, I'm kind of blown away, because I still think synthesizers that they sell today don't have some stuff as good as this. So, what do you guys think about that?
I do think.
I love the control. I think that looks wicked.
We'll go with Inky first.
Sorry, Darren. Yeah, I know that looks wicked. I think Roland were in their heyday, weren't they? They were really forward-thinking in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
I think that they really stood above a lot of other people. I wish they were kind of going the same direction today. If you know what I mean? Because
I think they're trying to.
They were really ahead. But they don't seem to have gone backwards a bit. Yeah,
they're trying to hold on to this future, aren't they? But they're getting what the users are kind of saying, remake. So I reckon they've been torn between They've always said that we're future, but they've been torn back, to remake.
But I find it weird that if you're going to release a groove box like the MC707. Why hasn't it got all the features that the 505 had? Why have you stopped? Is there an arpeggiator on it? Things like that. Little things where you go, well, you've got the technology, why don't you look at why that was good and fit it in a smaller box?
That's it, yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah. I reckon it's a good point. And, the other thing too is, what is wrong with using analog electronics? Okay, and it costs more, but people are willing to pay it. If it's something, look at, Dave Smith. He's made a heap of electronic synthesizers that are analog, and his synthesizers aren't cheap, and people are buying them. So, why can't? My question is, why can't Roland innovate with analog electronics? There's still digital technology. Electronics isn't the only form of electronics the future is about. There's innovations in analog electronics, so that's kind of my point.
I think if they'd have just made the 303 and the 808, they would have made a fortune.
Yeah.
If they'd just stopped being so stubborn, they'd have made a fortune.
And a Juno 6 while they're at it.
Yeah. All the classics, 909. They'd have gone out, they walked out the doors, but they didn't bother. And now someone else has done it. And now I don't think they can moan at that really because they've had long enough.
Speaking of the Junos, you know, the boutique, they brought out the first 3 boutiques they brought out. The first one was the Jupiter. They called it the JP08, I think they called it. And then that's only 4 voice, and the original was obviously 8. And then they brought out the Juno. They call that the JU06. That's only 4 voice, and the original 6. And these are digital recreations. And then they brought out the JX3P one, blah blah blah. Then they said, we're going to make limited run of these. We're not going to make too many. And once they've sold out, we're not going to make any more. And they did, and they disappeared. And all of a sudden, these JU06s and JP8s or whatever, they are like selling really high. Actually, in some cases, they're selling more than what you actually originally paid retail price for them. And then, like this, a few months ago, they bring out the new JU06A or whatever it's called. Like they remake it, a remaking of a remake. It just doesn't make sense at all. It's just annoying.
With 4 voices. Why is it only got 4 voices?
Yeah,
why?
We've been here before.
There's no reason for that. So we have to buy 2. Is that the reason?
I sold my JU06.
Like that?
Yeah. I fully with you, Yankee. I sold my JU06 in disgust. That's what. It's been on. It was on eBay, and about two or 3 days ago, I finally got my payment from the guy that bought it off me. So I'm like, thank you. See you later. First piece of gear that I was saying good riddance to.
I had the TR09. The boutique TR09. Had it for 2 weeks. Didn't like it. It was too small, and my eyes are not that good anymore. So I swapped it for the TR8, which is better.
Yeah. Yep. The only boutique kind of the only boutique drum machine thing I've got, same as you, Darren, is the old TR8, the first one they brought out. When they brought the S out, I just thought to myself, it's nice, it'd be cool to have, but I just couldn't justify it. And then they keep bringing stuff out, and they just keep. There's so much crossover. So you buy a product, like I bought a JDXi, right? And there's a drum track in the sequencer part of it. So it's 4 parts. One of the parts is drums, and it's got all the TR8, TR9, basically same as what's in the 808, but it's sampled, obviously digital. So I could probably get rid of my TR8 now and just use my JDXi, and I'd get away with it. May not get some of the sequencing capabilities that's in that hardware, but sound-wise, as a tone generator, it's there. And so there's all this overlap, isn't there?
And that's my problem, really. Sorry, Darren, you go.
Darren's
going. Sorry, go on, okay.
Oh, that's my problem with it all. So I looked at the TR8 on eBay because I'd like one, and they're really cheap now, aren't they? But if you've just bought a TR8S, which came out March last year, and then you've just been shown an MC707, a year later, it seems like they took the one device and made it a bit better, It's like you say, there's a lot of crossovers where it doesn't feel right.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Like I said, I think it was going back a few streams ago when we were talking about the MC707 and the was it the 303, 505? I can't remember. I always said wait, because Roland always, like you say, every year they seem to bring out another similar device, just slightly more than the last one, and the one that you was thinking about it always goes down in price quite a lot. Like the TR8 went to TR8S, and then you've got the Roland MC707, which is like a crossover between them. So if you just wait a year, you know that price is going to come down and because Roland just seems to keep doing this each year.
Yeah. So while we're talking about it, just wanted to just quickly bring up a couple of guys in chat have brought up a couple of things. So this is Renz, has said he just got a JU06A yesterday, and he reckons it's good. So congrats on getting that. And I think who was the other one? Geosynth said that he's only got the SE02, and I just thought I have a little bro moment with Geosynths. I think this is the best boutique that Roland ever made.
Yeah, but that's not really. Let's face it, right? It's not made by Roland, and it's analog.
Yep.
And so yeah, it is by far the best boutique by far. But yeah, that's a great little.
They should have made it slightly bigger, not made it a boutique.
I
Yeah,
actually
it should really be
think,
done right.
Darren, I think you probably agree with me, but they missed an opportunity to make this form factor compatible with Eurorack.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And if
That
that
is
was
just singing
compatible
up
with
for you. That'd
Eurorack,
be brilliant.
oh my god, this thing would have just gone. This would have like sold a whole bunch of muff wigglers basically. They would have gone in nuts with this thing. So yeah,
I just
I
thought,
don't-
yeah,
I don't-
they should have made it.
I don't know why they didn't do more in conjunction with Studio Electronics, because that seems to be by far, when you look at the boutiques, that's the real instrument, really, isn't it? If you know what I mean. Or
yeah. I mean the new stuff that they've just brought out, I think they're starting to head back to that keyboard, keyboard type thing. I don't know. There's kind of who knows where who knows what drugs they're smoking over at Roland. But yeah.
Nice. Did they do any? They don't do that many desktop, do they? Nice desktop stuff. It's either a keyboard or
Well, the
like your
DJ
boomboxes.
stuff, yeah, the IRA DJ stuff
Yeah.
is their desktop stuff, yeah.
They don't. They only did. I think they did the M1 that would fit into a rack, like modular.
Yeah.
But I think you've got one, haven't you?
Korg, yeah, the M3. Is that what you mean?
No, sorry, not the M1. The Roland. The plug-in, plug-out.
Oh, the System 8.
System 8. They did a System 1 in a rack, didn't they?
Oh, yes, they did too. Yeah, they did a Eurorack format one. Yeah, so they did do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's it.
That was reasonably popular too. That I forgot about that actually. That was reasonably popular. I actually did.
I thought you had
kind of
one.
No, I've got the System one with the crappy keyboard. That's something else that's
right.
going to go on my for sale list. Dazza, you've been quiet. Have you got anything to?
I'm just listening, guys. That's good. I'd wrap that up by saying that the JX8P was just huge, and that was back in the 80s. And then you're saying you got like double the power. That thing must be awesome. I'm gonna have to listen back to the video to hear how it sounds because I wasn't picking it up before, and I'm sorry if I interfered by playing with my volume there. I'll have a look at what happened then when I watched the video back. But it must be just awesome. Like I say, I used to run it through a bass cube, and it was just chunky. And we'd play all lunchtime. This was how I'd spend lunch, and then I have to go back to class. It was so boring.
Did you hear that? Can you hear that now?
I can hear a bit of it. Yeah.
Okay, good. I had one of the buses turned off. That's my fault. Sorry. Keep going.
But I'll check it out tomorrow. I'll have a look at the video in the morning. Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, and I mean,
with the controller as well, obviously that's going to add a lot of functionality to it. If you've got the box that has
yeah
that you were showing before.
Oh, do you want me to try it again? The Super JX programmer. I mean, yeah.
You've got the programmer.
I haven't got this. This is Lust. This is Gear Lust.
That's a picture. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I've seen them around. Like people like
$875.
Who's a guy? Junkie XL has stuff like that. Like he's got so much of this type of thing, and he puts them all together where they should be. Yeah,
So
it's like they belong together.
They do this table where they show if you've got a Behringer BCR 2000, what you can do with a MKS-70, what you can do with the actual original Roland programmer, and you can see there's hardly any yeses in that table, and what you can do with this new one, and like MIDI through. You can actually you know how those controllers, they kind of, in the old days, if you touched a knob, you'd lose it if you moved it, whereas and then you'd have to save the patch in the synth, and then you can't recall it back. Whereas this has actually got it's got kind of two modes. You can save the patch in the synth like you've always had been since the 80s, but you can also save the controller state as well
In the programmer.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's all CV too, like I said before. So this is something I'm lusting for. Yeah, I have to put a donate on next live stream. You can donate for my cause. No, I'm just joking. 888 Burger's saying he's just purchased a brand new Behringer Odyssey. Wow. And so he's lusting for some other stuff. yeah, I've got a Korg Odyssey. So there's videos on my channel of the Korg Odyssey. So we can, talk about that definitely. Let me just see what else we've got in chat because I don't want to ignore the chats. So see you later, Geosynths. He's got to go. Don't lose sight of the benefit of the JP08 and the JU06. A lot of people would never have been able to buy those classic Yeah, so when they first came out, Axelsofts makes a good point. When they first came out, they definitely served a niche in the market, and they definitely got people... I mean, I recorded tracks with those synths, but I just think the way they've treated the owners with that contempt as kind of, you don't bring something out, tell people that it's going to be... limited edition and then remake it. It's not limited edition, They've taken all the wording of limited edition off their websites too. Probably the lawyers probably told them to do that, by the way. So, yeah. Anyway, we won't go on to that.
Just to say something there, because there were people talking in the chat there. Yeah, whatever. We're not dissing any of these boutiques or any synths, because basically what works for you works for you. So if it's what your sound's after and it works, it's great. It can be really what we think might be a bit of a crappy thing, but if it's what you want and it works for you, does what you want, that's fine. We're not actually dissing it as such. It's just the sort of, I don't know, Roland's attitude maybe.
Yeah, it's a bit bizarre, isn't it?
Roland's recent attitude towards its customers, and I just find they're trying to sell us stuff when they could develop stuff. And when you start thinking that of a company, it's like the opposite I get when I think about Novation, where I go, well, we bought something and it's totally better now, or an MPC, I bought something and it's totally better now, rather than, well, I bought something and I've made something a year later that trumps my 600 quid thing. It's that kind of... We get to the point where I think what it is, choosing loyalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roland always seems to be like, every year, let's release at least 5 different products this year, each year, not thinking what they're releasing, just like, right, we need to release at least 5 this year, so we'll update this, add something to it, and so on. We'll make a DJ controller, similar to the last one, but we'll add a sample on it or whatever. Rather than sitting down and coming out with a really cool, unique product. I'm not saying the products are not good or anything, it's just that they seem to be, let's get another 10 things out, but not actually thinking what they're doing.
Yeah.
Definitely. And there's a question from 888 Berg. I think we'll just address that. But we'll go to you, Dazza, first.
I was just going to say they'd have a huge marketing team, and it'd be about marketing and numbers, and they'd know what the loyalty to the brand is for sure. But I keep seeing in my head that the meme of the guys in the boardroom where the guy gets thrown out the window. Do you know the one? It's that to me is Roland headquarters. Sorry.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
I think the customers are starting to sense whether a company, obviously profit is always needed, but if you're riding your name and selling as much through that name that's not particularly good, then people are going to cotton on. And it's not that the items aren't good, it's the rate of lack of updates, or lack that you can't update some of their products. They'll just send you a new one. Yeah, the
vaporware side of it. So basically, you're buying a bit of kit, and then eventually it has a use by date. And what are we making stuff for? Landfill? Because I'm against that. I mean, look, this synthesizer here in front of me was made in the 80s, and that definitely didn't go to landfill. So they made some good gear, and they can keep doing it.
Juno 6.
Yeah, Juno 6.
Is it a symptom of being a Roland fanboy that I feel like I want to defend them?
No, I mean, I'm a Roland fanboy. No, go for it.
I love my MC808, if only for the long samples that it can hold. But man, it's got some quirks. It's just the most bizarre piece of machinery, and it just breaks down on me from time to time.
I had an 808, so I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I got rid of my MC808 because I bought an MPC Live, and I just didn't think, I kept my 505. Because the bit that the 808 did that the 505 didn't was sampling, right? and it did a few other things, but a little bit better than the 505, but not much. And the things that it didn't do, the 505 can do, and I've got my MPC live. So basically, for me, that was the no-brainer. And I didn't think the 808 did a very good job of sampling. I didn't think it did well. So it was, it's restricted.
Yeah, it's slow, and it's not fluid. Yeah, everything has to be pre-planned. And I was hoping it'd be a bit more flexible than what it is. And the filters in it are very plastic feeling. Like the MC307 is much older, and it's got a much better filter in it. And the motorized faders, you just don't get enough use out of them like you think you might.
Yeah, that's it.
But I actually, there's one reason I keep the MC 808 in my collection, and actually when I'm doing deep meditation, I've done a couple this week. I've got some really good videos to release. People are saying I should be selling these things. The thing about the 808, that becomes my master clock, and it will slow down to 5 beats a minute. So we slow the tempo from, like, a resting heartbeat for a person is 60 beats a minute. We'll start at that tempo and then slow right down to 50 beats. And sort of 20 minutes into that type of exercise, we've got the person deeply, deeply relaxed. So I'll put that out. If you want to try them, you can have a listen.
Yeah, definitely. The link to your channel is actually in the description below, so those who, when they finish watching the stream, they can check it out. Now, I just got to quickly get onto these because there's a couple of things that have been mentioned in the chat, and I think we'll bring it up. So the first one is not that. Let's wait for it to update. Well, we're waiting for it to update. There we go. 888 said, when you're buying an analog synth, playing it, versus a digital synth, playing presets live, is there an issue with that? It depends on the analog synth. Some analog synths don't have, the ability to save presets, like some of those early Arturia ones, like the Mini Brute. You couldn't save a preset on it, and there was a reason for it. And like the Moog Model D, you can't save a preset on that. There's a reason for it. The one that you've just got, the Odyssey, you can't save a preset on that either. There's a reason for it, and that is because it's like an acoustic instrument. When you're playing guitar or a flute or something like that, there's settings that you make on that, and if you change that setting, you're going to change the way that instrument behaves. And it's the same with these analog. And that's the kind of world that's in. So to answer that question, it depends on how you roll as a musician. That's really the answer. If you just want to quickly grab a preset and then play it, then maybe the Odyssey's not for you. But for me, the Odyssey's kind of something that evolves organically as you play. You're playing it. You're you're moving sliders. You're changing settings on it as you go, and you take photos of the settings so you can get it pretty much exact each time you start. But as you play, you might change, and as and that kind of gives it that sort of organic sort of feel.
Each performance is going to be an original work.
Yeah.
Every time you come back to it.
Yeah, you got it. Now there was another comment made by Axelsoft, and he said, our expectations have changed 20 years ago. They rarely updated their synthesizers, and that's true because they're so expensive, for people back, in the day. I don't even know what an MKS-70 would have been worth, but I'm sure it probably would have been similar to a car. Those things were pretty expensive. So you're not going to change that often. And these days you buy gear in the boutiques, for example, they're pretty cheap. And you can even get stuff cheaper, like Arturia synths seem to be quite cheap, and the Behringer stuff's coming out very cheap. So that's probably why 888 got the Odyssey, because it's so inexpensive. It's even cheaper than the Korg remake, and obviously it's much cheaper than the 30, 40 plus year old, retro version of the Art Odyssey, the actual original one. But yeah, there you go. So, and what Inky was saying before about, firmware updates and, manufacturers that keep kind of their gear alive. Like we talked about Electron recently with that firmware update, and Inky was talking about the circuit, and we mentioned a few streams ago, Base Station 2 was another example where it got a firmware update out of the blue and it blew everyone away, and then they brought another one out. It blew everyone away again. because of Aphex Twin. So, you know, all this sort of stuff, that creates, I think, a fan base to your company. If you do that, you buy a bit of gear and it hangs around, and then that company keeps giving it love, that's going to create a fan base. And I think Electron have just won a few hearts back. You know, I think they were getting close to just about jumping off the edge of the cliff, but they're climbing back up the edge of the cliff now, and they're running back saying, "Oh, we love you now, Electron. You're amazing because you updated our firmware." Just like they did with Novation earlier this year. So there we go. Keeping an eye on chat. It's been hard for me today. There's like so many things changing between screens and stuff like that, and I've got my chat down here.
It's going good.
Yeah. G'day, Luke Cage. How you going? Missed out saying goodbye to a couple of people. But anyway, they'll catch it back on the replay. And yeah, geez, I tell you what, it's been crazy tonight. Absolutely brilliant. So I think I don't. Just so you know, if you're going to give me a thumbs down on the stream or anything, I don't mind. You know, YouTube likes it just as much as a thumbs up. When I do my live streams, I'm not really here to demo a synth. I'm just here to sort of play a little bit of it and talk about it, really. That's what the live stream's for. I do other videos which I upload where I do demos of things, and they're not really, are they, guys? I don't really demo stuff, do I? I do quirky things. I'm kind of weird.
Yeah. This is like a discussion show, isn't it? Sort of like to chat, and occasionally we'll pull out some bits of kit.
Yeah.
Saturday fun.
Yes, it's our Saturday Sonority. Yeah, exactly right.
I actually think we're all helping each other progress a bit too. We've pushed forwards. I found in the few weeks that I've been working with you guys, I've learned a lot and I've moved forward in a lot of ways. I know some of my videos seem a bit random that I put out, but it's actually all helping me develop to the point where I'm about to take some paid work performing live with my gear. So you're going to see some really interesting developments over the next couple of weeks, where I'll have a regular thing on a Thursday night where I play in a local restaurant. So
cool.
yeah, all
That's
sorts
awesome,
of crowds.
Yeah.
Like I know Inky's trying to play live, and I think we should all have a crack in whatever form we can do, and sort of guide each other with it. The way I'm looking at it at the moment, I've got like a module of the rig that I take out with me. It's about as much as I can fit in the car. You can see it on the video that I uploaded tonight. And yeah, each time I test it out and see the audience response and film it and then review the video, it helps me move forward and be able to do more and better and quicker. And yeah, it's really quite advanced technology that we're working with at the moment. And we've come a long way since we were using the JX8P back in the 80s.
I think playing live is kind of the best way for you to work out where all your skills are kind of centralized, isn't it? It sorts out all the issues will bubble to the surface. All the sort of techniques that you've learned playing in your studio, you'll have to polish those. You learn where you need to polish more, and it just really becomes one of those things for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm finding it's almost a bit compartmentalized. That we all have like different areas in which we work. You know, there's recording in the computer, there's the jamming live, there's the time when you take it out of your bedroom. And as I mentioned before, there's this meditation side of things that I'm very much into, and using that for health and for calming and for managing anxiety that we've talked about. So I think there's a lot of room for growth and development there. Okay.
Absolutely. So while we got it, there was another comment made by who was it? This is Renz has said, please have a comment on the Uno drum. So the Uno drum, who knows about the Uno drum? I know a little bit about it. Does anyone have some knowledge about the Uno drum? Well, I'm getting it up on my browser.
No, I don't think. I bring it up, I might go, oh yeah.
I did a little bit of a thing about it in my stream when it came out.
Have you got a fan that keeps coming on every so often?
Akai Multimedia.
There's some love for Inky in the stream there, in the chat.
Oh, there we go. Let's just have a quick look at this anyway, while we're talking about the Uno drum. So this is, just to make sure this is Renz, this is what you're talking about. This is the thing that came out. When would it have been? Kind of. I don't know. Was it earlier this year or mid this year? I remember talking about this on the stream, so it can't have been that long ago. But anyway, that's this thing. I thought there was one thing that it completely missed, and that was the ability for you to load your own samples on there. And I thought that was like, when you've got a digital drum machine, you got to be able to load your sample. Like, if you think about it, the Electron sample, I know it's a lot more expensive, but the Electron sample, you can load your own samples on that thing. I can't find it. Electron. But those who don't know what Electron sample is, it's kind of like their cheapest sampler that they brought out, and they brought it out earlier this year, or late last year technically. God, the Electron site is so slow. Why don't they have it? There it is. Model samples, it's called. Here we go. So for this as Renz, this is kind of more. This would be a product that I would buy instead. I would buy this because there's a knob and a button per function. It doesn't have that diving screen issue that a lot of the other Electron products have, and you can upload your own samples on there. And yeah, check it out. Anyway, there's the website address: electron.se/products/model samples. Go check that out. That would be my recommendation. And I'm not going to say Uno Drum. I'm not going to say anything terribly bad about it. Only the fact that I think it's just really just a PCM player, and you can get, there's a million of those things out there already that does it. And I just don't think it really, for me, it didn't hit the mark.
It does have a couple of analog drums, doesn't it?
It did. Doesn't it? Yeah, it did. But what does that bring to the table, really? I don't know. I just didn't feel. I don't know. It's not for me. I'm allowed to be like that. Either. I'm allowed to say I don't like something. Yeah, it has. It definitely had analog to it, but that doesn't mean it's bad or it's good. It just means that if you, what about the video that I did a couple of weeks ago where I had a Slim Fatty in front of me and I made drum sounds out of that? Do you need a specific drum machine? Darren, you could talk about your DFAM. That thing's crazy.
Some people don't like it, and then yeah, you can get all sorts. That's just weird. It's just if any sort of percussion sound, it takes a little bit of getting messing about with it, the way it works, but I'd rather have that. It sounds much beefier as well. But some weird stuff that comes out of that. I think that's just when you have your moments. I just mess about with that. Don't try to create anything. Just see what comes out of it.
I think it's that thing's like a happy accident heaven. That thing.
Yeah. Go for some dark techno and stuff like that, or some really out there stuff.
Yeah. Look, some people are going to have love for that Uno drum. They're going to have love for it. That's fine. It's just not in my world.
I've got to admit, I bought a second-hand mono station, another one, 4 drums.
Yep.
This one here.
Yeah, I know. I remember you telling me that, and they stopped making them now. So,
I think you put the panic in me, you see, because I was like, when I bought the first one, which was quite cheap, about 3 weeks later, Novation offered all the circuit owners a half-price one, and I spent all the money. So when I saw this, I promised if I ever saw one for $250, I'd get it. So I got it. So I think it was you. You scared me a bit. It was like, they've stopped making them. What? Because I think it's underrated.
I just throw stuff. You guys have got your own brain. You can make your own. You're big enough and ugly enough to make your own decisions without me. But yeah, no, I reckon it was a good idea to get another one, because I think, with that new firmware update that it's got, you can put the two together. That thing's going to be unstoppable, and that would actually be quite unique, Inky. So your setup having basically two bass stations is what you're saying. That's pretty unique. Yeah. That's cool. Now you got to make some unique stuff with it.
No pressure then.
No pressure. Yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm probably going to get shot down for bagging out the Uno drum, but I did give them a plug. So, you know, it's not like it's the end of the world. Look, there's their website. You know, they're not paying me. There's a plug. I've just repaired all that damage. There we go.
I mean, it's hard to say, really, isn't it? Because for what works for one doesn't necessarily work for someone else, and what sounds how they want it to sound doesn't sound how someone else wants it to sound. So it's, I mean, we're just giving our opinion on things, and you take that as is. That doesn't mean don't buy that, but also if you've heard an opinion about it, you've got some sort of, you know, you might not rush out then and do a fader port thing like I did. I'm running out and getting fader port. Brilliant. Everyone loves them. They're great. Best things ever. And now it's sat on my desk.
Hold it up again.
He doesn't like holding it up. Look.
Fader ports. Fader port. If you don't have a fader port, you're a loser.
Yeah. Trust me, they're a good product, but not for me. It's not.
If you have a Native Instruments machine studio, you're a loser.
Mine's bigger than yours, though. Mine's bigger than yours.
Yeah, you're
My
just...
top is bigger than yours.
Hang on, I don't know. I think I might win. I think Dazza won with that massive thing.
Dazza won.
Oh yeah, Dazza won.
Frankenstein's hands down.
Dazza's got a whole cupboard for free.
Frankenstein. Okay. Let me put it this way: Frankenstein is the only one that's had an ant infestation. Okay, that wins. All right. You can't beat that. It was under the stairs so long. When I dug it out after like 2 or 3 years, it had ants all through it. They decided to make a nest in there. That's the most use that thing ever got.
That's gold. That is gold. Oh, yeah. Absolute gold.
Now I can kill it.
We have to get you to do a video on that thing. I know you can't get it to work, but just like.
I can. It works. It actually works. That's the really bizarre part. I just have no use for it.
You've got that's going to break the internet. Yeah.
The pad. It's almost like MPC pads. I've never seen those pads before. I don't know what they're off. They're completely unique.
Do you know
and the BCR 2000 is always useful. And this one's got everything except the sides and the bottom and the top.
Yeah.
It's the new Dazza. Going up to a gig live. Everything's all getting set up, synths, keyboards, everything else. Bang, this thing goes on there. Yeah, it's my controller.
Dazza just rocks up with that, and that's it. That's it.
Like, I've got enough headaches as
What's
is.
this guy doing?
No, he's got that. Where's that synth again? The little tiny thing. He rocks up with this as well.
Oh yeah.
He plugs it in the back.
Watching control.
Oh, that's gold. Ant infestation. Oh, geez, I'll tell you what. If you live in Australia, ants are a problem. I mean, you know, I'm sure the greenies will shoot us, but they'll go and burrow underneath all your pavers and your concrete, and you know, and literally they'll be. We have these sinkholes appearing all the time, and I reckon it's from ants. It's just crazy. They're getting everywhere. They're a terrible thing over here. Anyway, 888 Berg was mentioned. Sorry, not 888 Berg. Xils-labs was mentioned as another option for the drum machine. Was that Roland MC101, the little one that came out? Yeah, they were pretty good. So you know, that's another option for This Is Renz. While he's thinking about getting that one that we've bagged out. Anyway. So yeah, there we go. So what have we covered today? Lots of stuff. Anyone want to add anything? I think we can almost about time to wrap up everything. We're all good.
Just has he considered a circuit for drums?
Yeah, they're pretty cheap.
I got at second hand they're really cheap. They're about 150, and I got some really samples. There's a guy called Lightfinger, who is pretty well known in the community, and he put out, I don't know, about 30 packs of samples for free, and really high quality drum samples as well. Really. So.
Yeah, good plug for the circuit. And there's no screen on them, so they're very, very easy to, once you actually know what all the buttons and combinations are, they're very easy. It's muscle memory, that thing.
That's why I like them, because if you I've got his synths in, so all the knobs make sense.
Yep.
And once you learn it like the back of your hand. I could literally take 2 of these out and play it live with it. I couldn't do that on an MPC or anything else or any other equipment, because you get to know them really fast.
Yeah.
You know that patch, you instinctively touch a button and it sounds good and you're off.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. The only negative side of it, it's not negative, is the fact that it doesn't have anything analog in it. So if they were thinking about the analog side, you just get yourself one of those circuit monostations to sit next to it, just like what Inky's got right there. So just go to the shot of Inky. So there is a circuit on a desk, and right next to it is the circuit monostation, which is analog. So you get, it's basically, a circuit monostation is basically a circuit underneath base station 2, pretty much. There you go.
Can you tell I want a job with Novation?
Yeah. Working with Korg.
Look, yeah. Look at the beautiful quality.
Anyway. Fair enough. So for those who are watching the stream, thanks very much for being part of it today. We covered quite a lot of topics. We went through all the FunnySide, the news. We talked about the unused gear, which we had some real funny ones. And then we showed a little bit about the Roland MKS-70, which is going to be sort of like a project that's going to be on my channel, and it's going to be an interesting sort of journey that will be, and hopefully I don't break it. By the way, I should mention, that is currently powered via a US power supply, and because in the back of it's actually US, and I had to get a converter to power it through. So you guys in the UK have got the same power as we have in Australia. So yeah, that I wouldn't be able to turn this on without that converter. So there's all these sort of things. I'm thinking about maybe changing the power supply in the back so I can just plug it straight in the wall. And those power supplies, they don't last. I mean, it's 30-something-year-old power supply. I'm sure the battery in this thing probably needs to be replaced. By the way, Dazza, that thing that you've got, what did you show up before? It was a Boss pedal or something, and you reckon that there's a Dicky connection on the back?
The Giga delay, yep.
Post it to me and I'll fix it for you and I'll send it back to you.
For real? Yeah.
For real. Post it to me.
I'd love to. Can I throw an idea into the works? I was wondering if we could do like a master of each other's songs, because I've been wondering about the mastering process, and I just feel like what I'm doing is not as good as it could be. And what would happen if I threw a song to you and you were to master it, and you threw one to me, or we just sort of swap in a clockwise circle or whatever, just as a project, like throw one song around each, and someone else has to master that song for the other person.
Yeah, we could look at doing that. We'd have to. I think Inky and I did a little thing a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, Inky? Where I sent Inky some stems.
Yeah.
Inky, you were going to say something? You had your hand up.
Oh, I was just saying that I'm the wrong person mastering anything.
No, I think we should challenge each other, I'd love to hear you playing this. I'd love to hear you playing the circuit a bit more too. I really think you should.
Don't worry, we'll get Inky on. Don't worry, she's got to get, let her get comfortable. That's
The problem with the circuits is I kind of overdid it. I entered hardware jams on Facebook and caught up with a pair of circuits, so I felt like I should probably stop touching them for a while and do something else. But I love them.
Yeah,
I really do love them.
Yeah, well, and I'd like to hear more of what they do, because I know they're pretty popular, but I've never experienced them myself. And as far as having
everybody on the stream, just to sort of get it. So far, I've done, Darren's done, and Inky's done performances on the stream. So Dazza, you're actually next.
Well, I'm begging for it. I tell you what I want to do. I want to do some live looping for you guys, but I'll do it like in real time, the way I would with an audience, where I'll ask you to give me a key for the song, and then each of you gets to give me a chord for the chord progression. So between 4 of us, we come up with 4 chords, and that'll be the chord progression, and then I'll do the rest. And give me 3.5 minutes, because my biggest problem is I get into loop land and I stay there for like 20 minutes later. I'm still playing the same loop So I've got to put a time constraint on things to make it more radio friendly or whatever. YouTube friendly.
We've got, well,
I'm not YouTube friendly at all.
We're cooking about 2 hours on this stream as it is anyway. But anyway, so there's some ideas coming up into the future. Next week, I have no topic for next week at all. And I will mention that I'm still waiting. Can you believe it? I've put posts up on social media. I was talking to Darren about this before the stream today. You put a post up on, I've got something like 2,000 or 3,000 people on my Facebook account, which is not many. I'm not trying to boast or anything. It's actually tiny. But when I put a post up on Facebook, only 50 people see it. So where's the other, thousands of people? They're there, but it's just because Facebook want me to promote it. And I don't get it. I actually don't get it, to be honest. It's just craziness. So there's people that are missing out on my posts, which you can blame Zuckerberg for that. Whenever I post something on YouTube through the community, everybody gets it. So there you go for everyone who's playing on YouTube. I might just put posts up through my YouTube community. So if you've subscribed to my channel, you get to post that way. But anyway, so the thing that I'm wanting is to add to the stream is Jam of the Week. So I've got a stinger ready and everything. I'm not going to play it, but Jam of the Week is what we want. And it can be anybody. It can be yourself. It can be someone that you know. And the whole thing behind it is we want to get other people, to showcase their stuff on here, because there's some really good musicians out there in the world, and they need to get their work done. It's not just what I think, and these 4 people in the screen. There's more people out there. So let's see if we can get this Jam of the Week happening for next week. I think that'd be good. What else? Topic for next week? Anyone got an idea, or we can just wait and see?
Well,
Charlie John
our best piece of kit.
He wants to hear the Frankenstein live. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It doesn't make any noise though. It's just a controller.
Oh, okay, yeah. But you can control something with it.
Yeah,
right?
Myself probably. I'll hook the dog up to it. I used to be into a band called Einstein Norb.
What?
They used to hook electrodes onto a dog and make the dog sort of crawl around in different things.
What?
Oh, that's all.
Use that as a controller. Perry, he's outside. I'll go get him. Hang on. Come here, buddy.
God.
I'm joking. Do I have to clarify that before we get kicked off YouTube for animal abuse?
Is it going to come out something like this?
with more palsy.
Oh, jeez. See, it's all about timing, people. It's all about timing. All right, I think that's probably about it for today, because we're just about to hit the 2-hour mark, and I really think the stream shouldn't be quite this long, but we just have so much fun, don't we, guys? Anyway, Thanks very much, everyone, for coming along. Darren, thank you very much. Inky, thank you very much, as always. Dazza, also, thank you so much for staying up late. I know it's so late over where you are. Thanks also to the chatties. Big thanks to the chatties. Waving goodbye, and I'm going to stop the stream now. See ya.
Right out. Good night.